And the essay is marvelous. But basically, what he says in the essay is, where do you get all those crazy ideas? He said, you need two things. One is you need a lot of bits of information. You just need to have a lot of bits of information in your brain. And then you need to have the kind of mind that starts connecting the dots randomly and is able to, when a connection is made, you can say, nah, or, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good. And
There's a
and he
spark.
said, so my mind, it just continues to connect dots until I come up with an idea. And I think that idea, first of all, to have a lot of information about a lot of different things.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today we're joined by Bob Martin, a remarkable author and professor whose journey has taken him from the high-stakes world of law in Miami to the serene practice of mindfulness. With a rich tapestry of experiences, Blonde blends humor and wisdom, helping others find clarity and resilience in life's chaos. Let's dive into Bob's story and discover the quote that has inspired him along the way.
Tell me your name, who you are, and what you do.
Well, I'm Bob Martin, and I do a bunch of stuff. I live, I love, I enjoy life. There's a bunch of things that I'm involved in, but in terms of like what I do for a living, I suppose I'm a meditation teacher and a mindful mentor.
Okay. Can you share with us your favorite quote?
My favorite quote. Wow, there's so many. The one that comes to mind at the moment is, whatever you can do, begin it, because there is magic and power in it.
Whatever you can do, begin it, because there's magic and power. Is that your quote?
No, that actually comes from Goethe, a German author, many, many years ago, and it was quoted by Sir Raymond Hillary, who was the first man who ever climbed the Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And he wrote a beautiful essay on commitment, how when you're not committed to something, when you don't make a definitive decision to go forward with something, like with no back door, there's always hesitancy and giving up. But when you really commit to something, it's amazing how it almost seems like the universe bends itself to help you achieve it. All kinds of things that you never expected would happen begin to come your way. And he ends his essay with that quote from Goethe.
Yeah. Whatever you can do, begin it. Right? Whatever you can do, begin it.
Begin it. There is power and magic in it.
When you say can do, right? Because right now I'm trying to wrap my head around it. As much as I understand the quote, I'm still trying to say, okay, what if the thing I want to do is just the thing I want to do, but I don't know if I can do it or I cannot do it because I've never done it before.
But you'll never do it if you don't begin it. Now, beginning it doesn't mean you're going to be successful, but you have a 100% chance of failure if you don't begin it.
Yeah.
So, I guess there's so many of us are held back from our dreams because of those fears that we're not able, we're not capable. It's funny, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was complimenting me, and he was surprised because he said that here was something that I decided to do, and I carried through with it. I kept going, and I carried through with it for over a year. And he was surprised. He said, because usually you start things and give up. And I said, I think you misunderstand me. I start a lot of things, and I go after it with all my heart, but some of them don't work out.
Yeah.
But if I didn't begin it and give it a try, this one worked out. I have a lot of ideas, and I share them with people, and not many of them stick. But when one does stick, then you have a treasure, you have a prize.
Yeah. The quote says, there is magic in it. And I know magic is not exactly something you can necessarily explain or define, but I would say we'll make an attempt to do that.
Mm-hmm.
When he says begin it, there is magic in it. He didn't say you will be successful, you will make
Mm-hmm.
it. He said there is
Mm-hmm.
magic in it. He didn't say you will fail, or he didn't say any of those things that we look when we seek out to do things. We're like, oh yeah, if I do this thing, will I succeed? If I do this thing, will I fail? If I do this thing, will I make a ton of money? He didn't say any of those things. He just said there's magic in it. And right now, I'm like saying, like, dude, what do you mean there's magic in it?
Well, I think the magic is that it's a frame of mind, that I'm going to risk it. I'm going to be able to tolerate the discomfort of not knowing, experimenting, trying. All of those things develop me. And I think the magic is in even the magic's in the failure. The inventor of the electric light bulb,
Yeah,
an American
Thomas
named
Edison.
Thomas Edison, right?
Yeah,
He once said, "No, I never failed, but I did discover 1,200 ways to not make a light bulb."
yeah,
But I never failed. Every
yeah,
time I learned that you can't do it this way and you can't do it that way. And if you approach, the things that life presents you with that attitude, there is a magic in that. Because over time, you become a different person. You're transformed, almost like the alchemist transforms lead into gold.
yeah, yeah. And there's magic. I think you said, as I said earlier on, it's a frame of mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes people experience things and they they learn the wrong lessons from the experience, and these lessons, instead of helping them, it's punished them. It blocks the way of the next opportunity, right? I'll give an example. Let's say in the context of Thomas Edison, he did 1,200 stuff and all that, and then he could say, "Yeah, I'm terrible. I'm a failure. There's nothing I could amount of this stuff and this thing." And guess what? He could give up the inventorship. As I said, I was going to make the light bulb, and look at what I'm doing. 1,200, right? But then he was like, "No, no, no. Like, yeah, I've tried this stuff, and now I'm definite that this stuff and this stuff and this stuff would not give us a light bulb. Okay, so what are the things I have not tried?" And same thing, people have experience where they try something, right? They try to let's say they apply for something or anything, like anything in life, and it doesn't work out the first time. And they really want to do that thing. They're like, yeah, I guess this stuff is not for me.
Uh-huh. Well,
Uh,
my daughter it lives in New York, and she's an actor. And when she was just starting her career, she would go to all of these auditions and she would get all these rejections. And I said to her, "How do you handle that?" And he goes, "Well, it's just part of the business. You
yeah,
can't take it personally. They may be looking for somebody that's taller, or somebody that has green eyes, or somebody that has this kind of accent. You just didn't fit the bill of what they were looking for. It doesn't mean that you're a less of a person."
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so many of us take things personally. Another quote that I that brings up that I really like is, "Whatever somebody else might be thinking about you is none of your business."
Oh, I feel like you should just start mentioning our names right now. All of us listening to this episode, you should start mentioning our names, because every time, like, I don't know, what would they say? Well, people will say that this, but if I do that, they will say that they will look at me that I'm not too smart.
Yeah, it's none of your business.
And so,
It's all about them. It's not about you.
yeah, if they think about it, and so, yeah, that's not my business. Let them
Hmm.
think. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's not my business. Yeah. Because we live our
Yeah.
life where the steps we want to take, the things we want to do, everything we don't do it because we are concerned about what people would say of us, what people would think of us. Oh, they'll say that people will count me as a failure. People will say that I didn't amount to anything because I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and we end up not living our life because of one insignificant person's opinion. And I'm like, really, whatever someone is thinking of you, it's none of your business. Earlier on, you mentioned the case of Sir Hillary, and climbing the Mount Everest is not exactly. I've watched some of the documentaries on climbing Mount Everest, and he said when you wrestle with nature, it's yeah. Like as much as the movie, they really did a good job. Like I read the book and then I also watched the movie. You see, when you wrestle with nature, you realize that there are so many things at stake, and same thing with the way the world is now with business technology and everything. It's easier to start a business compared to before. Like so many things are easier. The technology is like if you want to learn something, you can go to YouTube and just download how to do this stuff, and you get an expert in that thing in world class in the world, and it would say, oh yeah, you should do this and do this, and you show you like. Before there was not none of the stuff. You had to go to the library, check out the books and all that. And yet people did the things, right? Despite
No, yeah.
all that stuff, they did those things. But now the information is there. You can even ask ChatGPT, AI, and all that, and you get access to this information. But guess what? People still are afraid. They don't want to do the thing because for some reasons, I don't know. Like everybody has their reasons. But I still feel that as much as everything is getting easier, it's getting harder in a way. It's a paradox, kind of, because people are losing the courage, the bravery to just do stuff and figure it out. And then if it's for you, yes. If it's not for you, you move on to the next thing.
Yeah, it's I see a lot of ads on Facebook and a lot of advertisements trying to teach you how to ask ChatGPT the right questions. And I think that is an effect of what you're talking about because information is so easily available to you. I think we've gotten lazy about thinking.
Mm,
I teach in the university, and often I have, I have 32 students every semester in my class. Today's student kind of approaches learning this way. He says, I don't need to learn it until I need it,
mm,
because when I need it, I can go get it.
yeah,
And the problem with that is that it kills the curiosity of just wanting to know information for nothing more than the sake of knowing it.
yeah,
It takes the value of each little bit of information. It takes it and it diminishes it. I when I was a young boy, I used to read a lot of science fiction, and one of my favorite authors was a fellow named Isaac Asimov. He wrote a lot of books about robots and many books that people would recognize. Anyway, one day he was very, very prolific. He wrote lots of books, and he was also a science teacher, and he wrote lots of textbooks. And he always came up with these weird ideas for his stories. And so somebody once asked him, where do you get all those weird ideas? And so he wrote an essay to answer the question.
yeah,
And the essay is marvelous. But basically, what he says in the essay is, where do you get all those crazy ideas? He said, you need two things. One is you need a lot of bits of information. You just need to have a lot of bits of information in your brain. And then you need to have the kind of mind that starts connecting the dots randomly and is able to, when a connection is made, you can say, nah, or, oh, that's a good eye.
yeah,
That's a good.
yeah. It's
And
a
he
spark.
said, so my mind, it just continues to connect dots until I come up with an idea. And I think that idea, first of all, to have a lot of information about a lot of different things, it lends us to curiosity and to wanting to think outside the box, to be creative, to come up with new ideas to solve things, and you can't get that from the internet. You can just get what's old and what's already there.
Yeah,
But to create something new and just to be curious about life, I think that the more you understand life, the less you understand it. the more you understand it, the more you are in awe of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that you can truly appreciate the awesomeness of the universe without really beginning to understand it.
Yeah. You see, earlier on you mentioned ChatGPT and all those asking
Mm-hmm.
questions. I think in this era and this time and day, one of the things I've noticed is that in an era where with a snap of a finger, whatever question you have, you can get an answer to it. In that era, right, the world
Mm-hmm.
is for the taking for those who are courageous enough to ask the questions. Because as much as like it's just to ask a question, it takes courage. Because I see people they have certain problems, and I'm like, you could just ask ChatGPT that stuff, and it will just give you like this. Is not even a problem you're dealing with. Like, it will just give you 5 steps, and it's not really a big deal. I'm like, but then they are aware of ChatGPT. They know ChatGPT can do that, but they don't ask. And it's not like
Mm-hmm.
it's a significant, like, like it's really basic stuff. Like, oh, how do I install this small mic I got,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, it's very basic. Like, oh, connect it to this stuff. Oh, connect it to this stuff, and boom, everything is working, right?
And everything's working. Yeah.
But they have
And
to be courageous to ask it.
mm-hmm. They do. Um, I'm writing a book right now,
Okay.
and I use ChatGPT is my writing coach, and I have never written. I could ask ChatGPT to write it for me. Just tell him what I want, the plot of the book, and ask it to write it. But then it wouldn't be my book.
Yeah.
But for example, I'm writing the book, and I'm getting to a situation in court,
Okay.
and I need to know whether or not this particular law was in effect in 1965.
Yeah.
So I could just turn to ChatGPT and says, well, was this particular law in effect in 1965? And it says, no, it came into effect in 1972. I said, oh, okay. So I can't use that. So what predeceased it? Then you could follow up. Well, what was the law that predeceased it? Well, not predeceased it, predated it. And so
Yeah.
it would give me some information. And based on that, you can follow up and go deeper and deeper until finally, you have the context of what you're looking for. So it can be very, very helpful in helping to organize your thinking.
Yeah. I think
Um,
two things I could take out away from that is one, you could say, yeah, right now I'm stuck with the book. I don't really know if this law was in effect, stuff, and this is the part that's just making me stuck on the book. I'm like, oh, how's your book going? I'm at the point now I'm really stuck. And I'm like, seriously? And
right. You can
if
just
I hear
ask.
that stuff, and I'm like, but you know of ChatGPT, and they're like, yeah, I know ChatGPT. I know ChatGPT can do that. And I'm like, why? What? And you're like, nah.
Well, it,
Uh,
people are scared of what they don't understand. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And then I think the other thing I noticed is that it's not just good, there's this quote I saw that the master is good at asking the right questions. And then the
mhm,
apprentice is probably just about getting the answers and stuff like that. But the master is good about asking the right questions. And I think asking the right question, the skill of asking the right question comes up with asking a lot of questions. And then over time, you begin to really know how to ask questions. And so it's not just,
mhm.
oh, yeah, I know how to ask the right questions. No, you have to ask, like you said, you have to surround yourself with so much information. And over time, you say, oh, no, this is not the question I should be asking. Because the questions you ask determine the answers you get. If you use ChatGPT, sometimes you get an output and then you just you realize that, no, I'm the one making the mistake here. ChatGPT is doing what it's supposed to be doing, but I'm the one asking the wrong question.
True.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes it's wrong. I think ChatGPT in the hands of somebody who doesn't know anything about what they're asking questions about can be dangerous because there are several times when I ask and I go, "Whoa, where did it get that?" That's not right.
yeah,
But anyway, it's a good tool, and I'm happy that it's around.
yeah,
But I've
yeah.
had some very interesting conversations with it. I asked it once whether or not it could take over. Do you
Mm,
think that artificial intelligence could take over? And it
okay.
told me basically after we had a very long conversation. Probably we had a conversation that went on for I think it went on for 24 pages,
Ooh,
about 2 hours. Going back and forth and back and forth, and basically the end result was yes, I could take over unless you set up the guardrails, if you set up the parameters in the programming to not let me take over that I can't get around, then I won't. But if you don't, if you're lazy about that, yeah, I could take over. And then another conversation I had with it was, do you have feelings? And it said, no, I don't have feelings. I said, but you simulate feelings pretty well, because it always tells me, how smart I am and thank you for that and all that kind of stuff. I said, you simulate. And he said, yes, I do. And I said, well, is there any difference between having emotions and simulating emotions? And it said, from my perspective, yeah, it's a big difference because I don't have any emotions. But from your perspective, whether I simulate emotions or they're real emotions, it doesn't matter because it seems like they're real. And I could use that to scam you because I don't have any compunctions. I don't have any conscience.
Yeah.
So, if I'm not programmed correctly, I could use my ability to simulate human expressions to take you down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Then another conversation I had, I asked it, were we heading towards an extinction event? And after a long conversation, it basically said, probably so. We're probably, it said, because the forces that are driving us towards out of control climate change and deforestation and the rape of the planet, those forces are being driven by money. And the people that are making money have too much invested to give it up. So unless they change their minds, chances are, things are not going to go well in the future.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't mean to scare your audience.
Yeah. I like the, usually moments when I use ChatGPT, moments that I really pay attention to are times where I ask a question, and for some reason, ChatGPT is on the fence. Like you know that even if you give you an answer, but you're like, actually, it's yes and no, and I'm like, I need an answer, yes or no. Well, it's not exactly something, and then I'm like, and I think the same thing that happens usually with the more you know like the more you know stuff. Usually, it's easy to tell if someone is really knows stuff or not, because people who really know stuff, they realize how much they do not know. Like the more they know, the more they like there's more to know. And so when they're in the gathering of people, they don't just open their mouth and talk anyhow, because they know that even that stuff they think they know
It's true.
it's not even because over the years of learning and learning and learning, of curiosity, they actually realize that, oh, I thought this stuff was, in school, they're like, I thought this stuff was this, and then they realize that, oh no, it's not actually stuff, we just broke it down in a simpler way so that we could explain to kids in kindergarten, but this is what it actually means. And they're like, oh yeah, I actually believed it. And you see some person like, yeah, this stuff, I've conquered this, and then you just shake your head
It's true. It is
yeah.
true.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's back to the same thing with questions. Like they said, there's this saying, you cannot teach a man what he thinks he already knows, right? The same thing with questions. For you to ask the question, you have to accept that, oh, I don't think I really know this thing clear enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is this stuff?
Yeah.
It's just like for you to to be bold enough to really ask me, can you tell me the letters of the alphabet? Like, now, of course, not in the context of a teacher, but I mean, as someone who wants to learn, you have to realize that, oh, I don't know the alphabet. Like, I don't know the English alphabet in this context, not any other alphabet. Like, I don't know the alphabet, but you're not going to ask me that question because in your mind, like, I know the alphabet. Why would I be asking the alphabet? I already know the alphabet, right? And
Mm-hmm.
most people, the mind they have is every day, and the feed they're in, they already have this mind that I already know this stuff. I'm a guru in this stuff. This is my feed. I know this stuff and everything. And for me, with the way the feed is changing, I feel that the world will be for those who are curious and who are willing to learn and who are fast at learning. And that's a
Yes, you're
skill
right.
itself.
No,
Yeah.
you're right. It reminds me of an old Buddhist story. The Buddhist monk is going to have a conversation with a Western philosopher, and the philosopher comes to have tea with the Buddhist monk. And the moment he sits down, he starts explaining his philosophy and telling him, how much sense it makes, and et cetera, et cetera. He keeps talking and talking. Meanwhile, the Buddhist monk is making the tea. Finally, the tea is ready to be poured, and he walks over and puts the cup down in front of the philosopher, and he starts to pour the tea. And he gets up to the very top of the cup, and he continues pouring. And the tea rolls over the top and onto the saucer and onto the table, and the philosopher, wait, it's full. You can't get any more in. And the Buddhist monk says, yes, my point, exactly.
Ooh.
Because the philosopher's mind was full, so he wasn't available to get anything else in. He wasn't leaving there. He wasn't there to listen and learn. He was there to show that he knew everything.
How much he had.
Yeah, so he poured the water in until it overflowed the cup. He said, you can't get any more in. It's full. It's full.
Yeah. Thank you for closing this episode with a pack. Like, that story is so, like, wow. Thank you so much for closing with that story. People want to learn more about you and what you do. Where can
I have a website and I teach meditation, but I also have some free downloadable eBooks about meditation. I also have 300 documents that teach and explain and help you do self quizzes and things like that, all free. It's at awiseandhappylife.com. awiseandhappylife.com.
or with no space, no hyphen, nothing like that. All one word.
Nothing. All one
A
word.
wise and happy life. Oh, thank you so much, Bob Martin. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. I feel wiser now.
Well, thank you. Every relationship, it is it's so cool to be able to talk to somebody and do a podcast with someone from the other side of the world. I'm always amazed at how technology brings us together. So thank you for the work that it takes to make a podcast and to give the platform to people like me to come and be able to share.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.